how's it going, gang? So it seems this BlueFace and CriseanRock story would take a very shocking left turn. So this whole time I was planning on doing a whole update to my old video, seeing as how at this point in time it's a few months old. So much fuckery has actually taken place between then and now that I thought someone needed to say something about it. But I think today's events set a new precedent in terms of the fuckery levels. Now, many of us know BlueFace from his hit songs like Bust Down Tatiana. Some of us know him for being good with his fist, and no stranger to getting into a physical altercation. But now we're getting to know him as the guy who is going to be potentially charged with a gun crime and attempted murder. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. BlueFace actually got arrested for him being identified as the sole suspect in an attempted murder charge. And usually, I would want to do the whole shebang and give BlueFace a fair rap here, give him the benefit of the doubt just as a human being. But for one, he has a very public track record and history of committing violent actions. And second, there literally already exists footage of this whole altercation online, and I'm sure it's going to be used in the courtroom if it hasn't been already. Before we even get into the nitty-gritty details of what happened, it's really not sounding good for BlueFace in his corner right off the rip. So apparently this whole thing started off from a joke from a third party towards BlueFace about driving in a cheap car with a bunch of girls, to which someone in BlueFace's crew retaliated back with physical force. So this guy, having just gotten his ass beat, for lack of a better word, by BlueFace's crew, essentially leaves the premises, the strip club that this is happening at, and BlueFace and his guys think that this means that this guy could potentially be going for a gun in his car, which is not an uncommon thing to do in this club culture. So BlueFace and his guys, I guess, pursue him into the parking lot for some reason, I don't know, but I'm guessing that they didn't want him to get to his gun and then maybe return and unleash fire. And that's the backstory of where this video starts us off. So as you can see, we've got BlueFace's group leaving the spot here. BlueFace goes over to the far side of this white vehicle, and when the truck of this guy, who presumably was the one who got beat up before, pulls up, BlueFace actually lets off a couple shots. Of course, I'm not going to show all of that here, but you can get the gist of the picture. What's even worse is that after this point in the video, where maybe you could argue that it's not BlueFace in the video shooting, it's a little blurry or whatever, like multiple members of BlueFace's entourage, including him, actually go back inside of the establishment where the initial altercation happened, right under the freaking surveillance camera. And that sounds like the last thing you would want to do, because you would have to think that eventually someone from that establishment is going to call the cops. And at this point, if I'm BlueFace's lawyer, I'm punching the air right now, because essentially he has largely implicated himself in 4K, not to mention in 4K, for the whole world to see. And now at this point for the court, it's not even a question of whether or not BlueFace was the one that fired the weapon, or if he had the weapon. Now the question is, did BlueFace have a valid reason to fire the weapon? And I think that his side is going to try to argue that BlueFace was in fear for his life. He didn't really know if this guy had a weapon or not, and a lot of people do. But in my personal opinion, I don't think that perspective is going to hold up in court, or it's not going to hold up in court under much scrutiny, because the other guy who got into it with BlueFace, if you pay attention, he didn't really respond with aggression or violence in either of their altercations. If anything, it was BlueFace's side who got hurt over a joke, and then it was also them who would fire the first and only gunshots. You could argue that if this guy actually did have a weapon, he would return fire, because at that point he would be in fear for his life, and seeing as BlueFace was the one who brandished the weapon first and used it, that would give him a self-defense, So I just gotta say, it's not looking good for my boys. It's just so baffling to me, to see how someone who has found success in this entertainment industry just be so brazen and willing to throw it all away just to look hard or whatever the fuck. It's like an actual sickness, man. Like, how could someone be drawn to violence and raising a gun against someone so easily? And see, the thing is, all of this happened in Nevada, right? Now, I'm not sure how the gun laws work down there, but BlueFace, I think, is a California native, right? And I know whenever you start handling a weapon in a state that's not where you're sanctioned to do so, that's when stuff gets a little iffy on the legal side. This is why rappers usually have a guy who is essentially the fall guy, the purported shooter that's supposed to be handling the weapon so that situations like this don't happen, or if they do, then that guy is gonna go down. That's literally put in place so a guy like BlueFace doesn't have to be put in a situation where he feels like he has to pick up a gun. Not to say that that scenario is any more ethical or better, but that just goes to show you that there were other ways to go about this situation, and it's sad that it comes down to BlueFace not thinking critically at all and being willing to actually just throw his whole entire career and life away at this point, especially so close after the events of the murder of Takeoff. You know, like something like that could have happened again. And I think, you know, God forbid BlueFace would have actually killed this guy and then went to jail. And had he actually had went to jail, there would be so many people yelling out free BlueFace for making a dumbass decision. I mean, if he goes to jail, people will probably still be saying that regardless. But if we're following the same guy's track record here, like nothing in his past actions shows that we should feel remorseful or sorry for this guy whatsoever. This is the same guy that's been given chance after chance and has been warned on so many numerous occasions, but his actions keep speaking for themselves. And it seems as though he is unhelpable. He just wants to squander the opportunity that he was given and that he worked for, and there's really no hope for him. It sounds grim, but you know, whatever happens, I hope everyone involved can do some deep reflections and really think about how these actions have led us down this point. I don't think I'm alone in saying that BlueFace, and by extension CriseanRock's actions lately have been just entirely out of pocket. But it's sad to see that this is what it all culminates up to. I think people were slightly hoping for like a Kim Kardashian effect, you know, like controversy after controversy, but these guys would like potentially like fall up, you know, in terms of status and money and whatever the hell else. But sadly, it really just ended up as more black people resorting to violence over essentially nothing. Anyways, let me know you guys' opinion. Do you stand on my side with this whole thing, or do you rock with BlueFace? Let me know down below in these comments, and don't be afraid to hit that like button if you like the content, and maybe even consider watching another video.